Hey folks, welcome to another video on the 67 Stang channel. So we're going to keep working obviously on the car. In the last video we troubleshot, is that the right word? Troubleshot. Anyway, we worked through getting the blower motor for the heater working and figuring out the problems with it. Hopefully that will prove helpful if for those that watched it, or if you haven't, take a look at it. Anyway, we got all that worked out. So what are we doing today? Well, we're going to keep doing a couple of things. First, we're working on the dash on the inside here. So I've been trying to get it back together. Now that we got the heater box all in, the fan working, controls, except for missing that one clip for the defrost control working. Got the headlights working, all that. We're ready to hopefully get the dash all back in. So we'll start working on that. Have already done a few things, so let's go over quickly and show you a couple of things that I've done as part of this dash rebuild, reinstall, I don't know which way. Anyway, and kind of go from there. Yeah, sounds like a good plan. So let's go ahead and get that going and take you over and let you see a couple of things. So we're now in the car. You can see I've already gone ahead and installed a couple things. So got the pad here. This vinyl padding. So is, I think, a safety feature that was added in 67 to help provide cushioning in case of some sort of impact. So we got that in there. We've got this dash panel that runs above the glove box installed. This, you may remember back when I was working on rebuilding the instrument cluster. So I've when I did that, I did try painting this with what was called chrome paint. It looks more like silver paint to me, but you know, the rest of this panel was in such good shape, except for I noticed the M's a little worn there, but I'm keeping it for now. I'll probably replace it at some point. This was not a new piece. This was one I did replace in the 80s. Because the other original one was shot. I don't know where the original is. It may be up over my dad's garage in his attic. I don't know. This, however, is an original piece. So I've got this piece put back in. So it's all of these are real easy. Don't ever be scared about trying to work on these dashes. They're very simple. On this, there are two screws down here, and then it slides up, and in the back, let's see, I'm not sure if I can get back here where you can see it, if there's enough light, but there's just another little plastic peg that slips through, and there's a nut that screws onto it. Same is pretty much true. Let's see, again, I can't tell what you can see for the panel above the glove box. There's just some plastic pins that slip through holes of the metal dash and nuts that screw onto that. So pretty straightforward and simple to put this on. And then the pad itself has, was it 4 to 6 screws with nuts that go on the back of it. So we'll flip this back out. So we got all of that in there. So now what other parts do we have? Well, obviously this big gaping hole right here is what the glove box goes, so we've got to get that put together. Then we have this other big hole. Let's see if we can get this thing to focus. I don't know what it's, there we go. Here, this is where the radio and all that goes. So I've actually wired in already. You can see this connector here that goes to that nice 80s tape deck unit that I've got. And then here is where the ashtray cigarette lighter goes. So I've got to get that put in there. And then of course we've got this center piece of the dash here. Now this is open because this is where, if we had AC, a vent would go. So that's why that is open. I don't have AC, so this will be a solid piece that goes there. And then of course the big hole right here, which is where the instrument cluster goes. So we're going to try to get a good bit of this in. I've already been, so when I had all of this torn apart, I went ahead and was painting, I had painted all of this metal here, right, with the same paint that I used on the panels back here. So let's go take a look at some of those big panels that are missing. So this is the ashtray that goes where I showed you in there. There's a little bar that it clips onto. You can see that slot. So this just slides on there and pivots back and forth on that. Um, for those of, it might not be, I don't know, old enough. Yes, cars actually came with ashtrays so you could smoke in the car. My mom and dad, back when they owned this car originally, used this a lot, and it was quite nasty. I've done a lot to clean it up. Looks like got a little bit more rust clean up on the inside, but this was a pretty nasty mess because it had been heavily used. But you can see I've got it, at least the outside part, all painted and ready to go. Cleaned up a good bit. So that's nice. So using that same paint, and I'll show you the paint that I use for that in a minute. The next part that you can see over here is the glove box. So I've been working on it, although I think I'm going to have to redo the hinge because I think I put the hinge on backwards. But that's beside the point. So this, again, not in perfect shape. You can see some dents in it and all that. Got a lot of reflection come back off the light. You can see fingerprints and all. I have to clean it up. But did the same thing. I used the sandblasting cabinet, you know, that one sitting over there. Thank you again, David. To completely tear this thing down. The back side in here, you can kind of see some of the pitting and things was pretty rusty on it. Let's see if I can flip it around this way. Down here, especially back where this hinge was. So I want to take it down to bare metal, primed it all up, did a couple of coats of primer, sanded that down between coats, and then came back in with the paint. So again, the paint that I'm using on this, for better or worse, is this. It's the Rust-Oleum Indoor Outdoor Black Satin paint from, I'm sorry, Rust Stop, not Rust-Oleum, Rust Stop from Ace Hardware. Seems to be going pretty good. Like the way it sprays. Not had a lot of problems with it, overspraying, so I don't get a lot of drips and things. So far so good. I know it may not be what they came with the factory, but I think it looks pretty nice in the car. Okay, so cleaned all that up, got the hinge back on. The other thing I did was get a replacement glove box, I guess liner. I don't know what you want to call this. Maybe you want to call this the glove box because it's actually the thing that holds it. So I got this. I think I got it during the Black Friday sale or Cyber Monday sale from CJ Pony Parts. It was like 50% off, so couldn't pass up the deal. So I thought I'd do a quick comparison. I've got the original right here that came out. So both of them are plastic, which is a nice improvement. So for those that have worked on 65s and 66s, if I remember correctly, because I had a 66 at one time, it was cardboard. So in 67, I guess they went to plastic. Now you can see here's the original. They've got two staples holding that side. That's where the light would go if you had one. I don't have one. You can see back there's the metal tab on it for holding down your insurance card or those kind of things. And then this side you have three staples. Again, just trying to get you an idea of what the original looked like. That's where the latch comes through. See how that cutout is. And then the screw holes, that one was busted. And I could have probably cleaned this up and reused it. But why not go with this new one? So let's take a look at this one that I got from CJ. So again, still using staples to hold it. This has two, which also, there was two on that side of the original. Now this one only has two, where the original had three on this side, so a little bit of difference there. But again, this is just holding this part down, not big importance. Now I've screwed this in, and the screw alignment holes were dead on. No problems getting that screwed in. The cutout for the latch, which this is the original latch, fit perfectly. So, and the quality of the plastic, looking at the thicknesses, I don't have a little gauge to easily measure that, but just by hand feeling it, feels pretty close. I'll be honest, the original does seem a good bit thicker I say good bit. It does feel a little thicker than the reproduction here. Same text. So we got texturing here, texturing here. Let's take a look, see if we can get these side by side so you can kind of compare. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. There we go. So you can see both of them are textured. It looks pretty similar as far as the quality of the texturing and the depth of it, so not too bad. So anyway, so this is the glove box. I've gotten it all ready to go. The glove box and the ashtray are probably some of the last things that are going to go in, but I wanted to go with that. The other part with the ashtray, I need to find it. Let me go find that and I'll bring that out to you, because there's a frame that this kind of goes in. So let me go get that and bring it out and show that to you too. Okay, so I found the other part. So this is actually the frame. It actually mounts up like this, and see that bar there? That's what the other piece I was showing you rests on. So it just, that groove slips over that bar and it rotates on this. So this is also where your cigarette lighter is. Now I replaced this again a while back with parts. I'm not sure if I think I got this from National Parts Depot. I don't remember. Could be. Anyway, so I went ahead and replaced it because I wasn't getting power to the old one I had. And because I don't have any other charging ports, I'm going to use this for that. So I want to make sure it works. So that's all brand new. And clip in there, I'm going to have to ground it. But that's all cleaned up. This is original. I just cleaned it up. There's the word for it, cleaned it. I cleaned it up in the sandblasting cabinet, got rid of all the rust. It's in good shape. Probably am going to come back. I haven't decided, with maybe get a clear coat and do it so it doesn't rust anymore, but it's in a fairly dry, safe place. Should be okay. We'll see. Anyway. And then lastly, here is the bezel for the radio that was in there. So I've still got that. I haven't done anything to it. I'm trying to find out if this, I'm not sure if this is original or not. It does look like it has right there the Ford company stamping on it. And I'm not sure if these are original part numbers. So I'm not sure if this is an original. I think it is, but I do remember in the 80s when I put the radio in here that I did swap out the bezel, because somebody had cut out the bezel so it would fit a long rectangular unit instead of the one with the knobs. But I think I found this either in the trunk, or I might have gone to a swap meet and gotten an original. I don't remember. This was obviously in the 80s when this happened. So 87, 88, possibly 89 when I did this. So it was 87, 88, 88 when I would have done that. But anyway, so I've got this to go in. Again, the Realistics cassette deck fits right in there. So I can use it. I don't want to, if it is original, I don't want to cut it. If I do come back and put in an aftermarket stereo that doesn't fit, I will take this out and I'll get a repo and I'll cut the repo up, not this, what I think is original. I think it is. Anyway, we'll figure that out. Maybe I'll do some digging later and let y'all know when I edit the video. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. Now that you've seen that, oh, one last thing. I think in the last video, wonderful hair. Anyway, last video I mentioned that I had a gas leak. So yeah, let's go back over here. So I was, because we were getting so close and I'm not sure how much gas was still in the gas tank. And I have been periodically running the car, cranking it, letting it run for a while just to keep things moving and all that. So anyway, so I thought, well, I'm going to go out. We're getting close. We're actually not that far from being able to drive the car. And so I went out and got some gas. There's a gas station not too far from me that sells non-ethanol gas, so which is really the best thing to run in these cars, because ethanol is horrible. It's nasty. It does horrible things to engines, especially those not designed to run with it. So we don't want to run that. So anyway, got that. So I came back. Let's go ahead and flip around. So I came back here and started pouring gas from my 5-gallon gas tank. And Yeah, I was getting some dripping out, one would expect, down on the ground. But then as I'm going, I'm looking down here. Of course, the blue thing wasn't in the way. And there was a lot more gas there than I expected. So I got to looking, you know, down, get down here. Down here, and sure enough, right up there from the sending unit, about, not directly from the bottom of it, but about halfway up the side of it, gas was leaking out. Pretty good bit. As y'all that follow the channel know, that this seems to be a never-ending battle. I put a new tank and sending unit in when I first got the car running. Then where the connection is for the fuel sending or fuel gauge on that sending unit started leaking bad because the seal on it broke. So I had to go rush out as gas was pouring out, get a new one and get that in. And this is that new one. So that was no fun. Luckily, yesterday I was able to finish draining the gas tank out again and get that sending unit out again. And it turned out, luckily, that it was just the seal had shifted as apparently I was installing it, so it wasn't forming a good seal. I resat the seal for the sending unit and put it all back together, and now it's got about 7 to 8 gallons worth of gas in it. And so far, so good. No leaks that I can discern. The little container I put down here, get my fingers moved around, since it is dry. So I think we're good. I think we've got the gas leak problem whipped, at least for now. I keep saying that. This is the second or third time I've had to deal with that. So anyway, what I'm going to do now, all that, is start working back in here. So I've got to get the instrument gauge cluster in. I got to get that centerpiece in first. Then the instrument panel, get that hooked up, test. I'm going to hook well, let me back this up. I'm going to hook the instrument cluster up to the wire harness and crank the motor and see if the oil pressure sending units and all that are working. I'm getting that. And I'm also going to test the windshield wipers. Here's the wiper connection here. Make sure all that works before I button all this up, because it'd be a real pain. Next thing I've also got to do is the light for the shifter. Where they told me to plug it in means that shifter light only comes on when you turn on your lights, which is not the most helpful thing in the world. So we want to fix that. A few other things. So anyway, I'm going to get started on this, and I will show y'all. And I'm not going to demonstrate all of this because the dash stuff is pretty straightforward. It's not hard to take apart and put together. So anyway, let me get at it, and we'll update you as we've made progress. So this is actually going longer than I expected. So we're going to go ahead and make this a two-part video. So we'll pick it up in the next day where we continue to move forward. So with that, guys, hope you've liked it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not. Give it a thumbs up. If you do like what you're seeing or any of the other videos, please leave a comment down below if you have any tips, tricks, or other ideas or things you want to see as we're going forward. And so with that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Now we got the radio working. Don't want to play it too long so we don't get cut from YouTube, but radio's in. One more step forward.